Hello, everyone. Welcome to episode 141 of the Rise Up and Share Your Medicine podcast. This is Lisa Espinosa, and I'm so happy to be here with you today. Today's podcast is Hold More Light, Create More Impact. So I'm going to talk about what that means. Today's going to be a little bit more, I don't want to call it metaphysical, but we're going to go into some of the more of the soul side of sharing your gifts, of helping others. And I was really inspired by the workshop that I've been promoting that I did yesterday, Create Your Sacred Value Plan. In that workshop, I talked about the importance of creating a soul-led map of how you're here to add value to your people. And I shared that there was 4 pillars of that plan. And so this specific topic about how do you hold more of your soul's light would go with pillar number 1, which is all about adding value to yourself, right? And to be clear, when I talk about becoming more valuable, I want to be clear, everyone is valuable. Everyone is innately valuable. There isn't a person who isn't. We are born, that's part of our divine gift, is that we're innately valuable. And we each carry a unique medicine to share with the world. That's what I call it, your unique soul's medicine. And we also have free will, so we could decide not to share any of that value. So when I talk about becoming more valuable to your people as a helper that you are, I mean, how do you add more value to the people that you're here to serve, to lead, to inspire, to provide services for, to create products for? Because that is a choice that we have. And so one of the most important things is adding value to yourself. Is like, how are you going to do that? And one of the ways to do that is to learn how to hold more of your soul's light. So what do I mean by that? So first of all, I think I skipped my introduction. For any of you that are new, my name is Lisa Espinosa. I'm a spiritual career coach, and I coach helpers. I coach wellness professionals, visionaries, change makers. But even if you're not in any of those professions, but you have a longing, you've always had this desire to help humanity, to bring about new solutions, to usher in transformation, you're a heart-led helper. Okay, that's the gist of it. And so the way that I coach my clients is from this understanding that the way you can create the most impact for humanity, for the world, for your people, is by aligning with your soul. And when I use the word soul, I mean your true essence, your higher self, that divine part of you, your divine truth of who you are. Your soul is eternally connected to source, to God, to the universe. Your soul has infinite capacity. And so as a helper, what we're learning throughout our career, throughout our life, is how can we align more deeply with our soul, so that the help that we offer the world, so that the gifts that we bring to the world are infused with our soul. And so when I talk about increasing your capacity to hold your soul's light, I'm specifically today talking about your physical capacity to hold more light. Because when you can do that, you become like a brighter light bulb, a stronger lighthouse, however you want to call it. So your soul's light is a miraculous force. Your soul's light is more powerful than any earthly problem or limitation, right? Because again, your soul is eternally connected to source. So if you think about, your soul is always in a receptive mode, right? Your soul's always receiving. It's all your soul does, really. It's like receiving from God, from source. And then here we are in a human body. Many of us can forget that we are actually a soul having a human experience. But if you're watching this, you remember, right? There's that knowing inside of you. And so then as a human physical body, we're learning how to become a bigger container for our soul. This is a type of help that goes beyond intellect, beyond any professional training that you have. Now, of course, living here in the human world, our intellect is important, our professional training is important for sure, but it's not enough, right? When you look at the world, look at the problems of the world, we know if it was enough, they would have been solved already. But we're really in this point in the earth history where we're here to download divine solutions, like new paradigms, new ways of healing, new ways of supporting others, new ways of ushering in transformation, new visions for the world. And the only way we can do that is to go beyond our human intellect. So I have these little visuals because I was trying to think about how to, a visual for this. So I brought these little bottles. So I want you to picture this as, exhibit A. This is a human, right, container. This is, let's just say this is before and after. And let's say this is how much of your soul's light you can hold, right? And I chose a clear glass because it's you can think of your soul is infinite, right? It cannot be contained. I'm not saying that your soul can fit in this little thing. Absolutely not, right? If we say this is your human body. But let's say in the beginning, this is your capacity. This is how much of your soul's light you can hold. Why? What is taking up the other space? Because along with having a soul, we also have an ego structure. All of us have that. When you are a human, you have an ego structure. And the ego structure, I like calling it that ego structure. I'm talking about this from a spiritual perspective. Remember I said today's episode is going to be more on that level of spiritual, a little bit of metaphysical. That's important because we always want to remember that as well as we're going out there in the world helping people, right? And so your soul, as I was saying, is infinite, right? Your soul is infinite. And when we decide to become human, we also receive an ego structure. And your ego structure is the part of you, the part of us, we all have this, that believes we are separate, that is very much attached to what we see with our physical eyes, right? The ego structure is always comparing, is always judging. And I know we tend to think about the ego structure as, oh, he has a lot of ego. He's really thinks he's better than others. That's one way the ego can show itself. But it's also the ego structure that can make you feel the opposite. So if you're like, I'm less than everybody, everyone else is better than me, I'm an awful person, that's also the ego structure. So the ego structure is just a part of us that believes we're separate from God, separate from source. There's people that are better than us. We're better than other people. It's just the structure in us that is constantly judging and believes that all the answers are outside of ourselves. And so I want you to really understand that as a human, the reason this is such as one of my teachers says, a heroic human journey is that, yes, we have a soul, but we also have an ego structure. And so part of this human journey is learning. So this is what I have been on a path on for so long, and I coach my clients on as helpers, is learning how to have our soul be the guide that leads us, not our ego. And we do this not by fighting with the ego, because that is a losing battle. That's what our ego would love for us to fight with it, because it gives it power. It's just by knowing we have an ego structure and by choosing instead to continue to align with our soul. So back to this example. Let's say this is us in our little human body, right? And we have our ego structure and we have our soul. And this is how much of our soul's light we can hold in the beginning. Right? Because we still have so much of the ego structure, right? And we also might have trauma and wounds. And I'm not going to go into all of that. That would be a whole other teaching. But what I want you to understand is that when I'm talking about increasing your capacity to hold your soul's light, is increasing your physical body's capacity to hold that light. So that, okay, here we have this vase. Look at this comparison. Like imagine holding this, and obviously this is just an example because it's much more than this, but imagine holding this much of your soul's light versus this much, right? And as long as we're in a human body, we're constantly in a journey of increasing our capacity to hold more of our soul's light. That is truly the difference. That is the difference between one healer and another, if you want to think of it from that perspective. It's always how much of our soul's light can we hold? And so what I started this by talking about your sacred value plan, right? That I've been talking about. Here we are in September, and asking your soul, how am I meant to add value to my people these last 4 months of the year? Or whenever you're watching this, just apply it for your time. But and one of the ways we do that is to prepare our mind, body, emotions. So one of the ways, the first step in increasing your capacity to hold more light in your body, increasing your capacity, is to set that intention. And I know that sounds so simple and like it can't be that easy, but it really, that is the most powerful, important step. So if you are like, okay, beautiful soul, when you pray, when you meditate, just bring your hands to your heart and say, I want to increase my capacity to hold more of your light. Like, help my physical body to increase the capacity to hold more of your light. That's the first step. Because your intention is everything. Because as humans, we were gifted by the divine, by source, by the universe, with free will. So we could decide, we get to choose that. We could say, no, I don't want more of my soul's light, or never even get to that realization. But if you've been blessed enough to be at this point where you're like, yes, I want to hold more of my soul's light, then set that intention. Because what can happen, and many helpers do this, and I've fallen into this, is we rely solely on our humanity. Like, we're like, I want to help all these people. I want to bring about change. I want to help the world. And then we forget that we are a soul. We forget that there is source. We forget that the divine wants to work through us, that we're not meant to do the heavy lifting, that our humanity is limited. If we were just human, we would have a lot of problems. There's no way we could solve what seem like impossible problems of the world. But we're not just human. We're human. We're souls having a human experience. We're divine. And so we need to remember that. And so the first step is ask your soul, just set that intention. And so I do that every morning. It's like, okay, beautiful soul, increase my capacity to hold your light. Increase my capacity to hold more of your light. And so once you ask that, then the answers start to come. And this is where, again, we have free will, and we could decide, yes, I want to do this, or no, I don't want to do this. So here's another question for you to ask your soul. Once you set the intention, so first step is set the intention. I want to increase my capacity. I want my physical body to increase its capacity to hold more light. More of my soul's light. Okay? And then once you set that intention, you're going to ask, how can I prepare my body to hold more light? How can I prepare my body to hold more light? And the powerful thing about this is that this can happen at an unconscious level. In fact, you can look back on your life, I'm sure, and think back on like, oh my gosh, my soul was preparing my body to hold more light. I didn't know it at that time. At the time, I was resisting it, and it felt terrible. Like I've shared this before, but I remember when I used to be a middle school teacher back in Chicago. Like, I taught teenagers, I taught science and reading. And then I left that career to start on this whole new journey of coaching. I didn't even know it was going to be coaching. I just knew it was going to involve spirituality and energy healing and all of this stuff. And so right around when I left that career, my physical body started, even though up to then I had considered myself a very healthy person. I hardly ever had to go to the doctor. I just did everything I needed to do and just kept going. And then right at that point, when I left my career as a teacher and was embarking on something new, suddenly my body had all sorts of things happen. It started with a cold that didn't get better, which turned into pneumonia, which lasted like 3 years, which then turned into all these other weird symptoms, which was autoimmune stuff. And I mean, I won't go through the whole thing, but it was a long, long, long journey. And there were many reasons for it. And now I can also look back and know, like, oh, my soul was preparing me to hold more light, from preparing my physical body, right? All of that journey, which led to, not eating gluten and not eating dairy, and then also starting yoga and meditating and all of these things. And I wasn't thinking at the time, I'm doing this to prepare my body to hold more light. But in essence, that's what was happening. Right. And so, but now when you know it consciously, you can do it consciously. Right. So now you can say, okay, instead of random things happening, it's like, okay, I want my physical body, I intend for it to be able to hold more of my soul's light. Because what happens when you hold more of your soul's light? You can radiate more of your soul's light. There's less ego structure then, right? There's more soul's light. And then when you are helping your people, however you help, whether in your sessions with clients, whether with customers, and even just as you walk around through the world, you are like this beacon of light that's radiating blessings without effort. That's ultimately what we want. And so then asking, how can I prepare my body to hold more light? And then be prepared to hear the answer. And I always say, when you ask your soul a question, I want you to know this, your soul always answers. Your soul wants to talk to you. Your soul wants to communicate with you. Your soul doesn't want to be vague or mysterious or make it hard for you or make you pass some test before it gives you an answer. That is not true. Your soul wants to give you the answer. Your soul wants to be in constant communication with you. So then what happens? Again, we have an ego structure and we have all sorts of reasons why we block receiving the answer. But the first thing I want you to know is that, one, your soul always answers you. And two, that you want to release the pressure to hear the answer right away. Right? So maybe you ask the question and at first you're like, I didn't hear anything. That's okay. Your soul will give you the answer through different signs and messages, through synchronicity. Right? Maybe when you ask the question, you might know, oh, I'm already doing that. I've already been noticing that I'm being guided to change my diet, to eat different types of food, to not eat certain foods, right? You might be getting that message, or maybe you get a message of, taking more walks in nature, or maybe you get a message it can be hundreds of things, and it's very individualized. So I'm not going to sit here and say, this is the diet you must eat in order to carry more of your soul's light, and this is the type of exercise you must do, because I just know way too many people that are like amazing healers, amazing helpers, are so tapped into their soul, and they all have different diets and they all do different practices. So I really do believe it's a very individualized curriculum that we each have. And I also really feel that there's something happening, because there's so much happening in the world right now. There's so much need for the helpers. I just feel like the Divine Mother is putting out a call, like, all right, helpers, wake up, wake up, wake up. Come online, come online, come online. Like, you need to, it's like, carry more of your soul's light, because it's so needed in the world. So I feel like there's an acceleration of preparing our body. So I can think of, this new yoga class that I started, that it's like, oh, I didn't know it when I started. I was just feeling so grateful to find a new yoga class, and felt like, obviously it's always really important to tend to our physical body. But I didn't have the conscious thought in the beginning, oh, this is I'm taking this yoga class because this yoga class is preparing my body to be able to hold more of my soul's light. I wasn't thinking any of that. I just kind of followed the steps. But now, a month in, or a little more than a month in, I'm like, oh my gosh, this is absolutely what is happening. As I move my body in different ways and stretch my body in different ways and sweat more than I've sweated, I don't even know if that's the right word, that I sweat in years, I can see my body's detoxing. I'm like stretching. My nervous system is getting massaged and releasing things. I am absolutely preparing. And so I want to tell you that you are doing the same thing. There is a preparation that is happening for you. And the more conscious it can become, the more powerful and joyful that it can be for you. And so the first thing is you're going to set the intention. Now, again, this is your choice, but if you're watching this, I figure you want to do this. Set the intention to hold more, to be able to increase your capacity to hold more of your soul's light. Second step is you're going to ask, how can I prepare my body for this? Follow-up question to that is, what refinements and nourishment, movement, or self-care are needed? Ask that question. What are the refinements? And for some of you, it's going to be just that, like a little refinement. Like you're already doing things, but your soul's like, okay, tweak it this way. Maybe it'll be like, let go of some of that, simplify it, do this instead. Right? So like for me, I was already doing some yoga. I was definitely walking a lot and doing kind of like resistance training. And then my soul was like, nope, now it's going to be Ashtanga yoga. This is going to cover all of that. Right? Again, that's just my example. I'm not saying that's what you have to do, right? But there'll be refinements, right? And there's, for example, this week, I was really sick and went back to yoga today. And I could feel and you can hear my throat, I'm still healing. But I could feel like, oh, even that illness, it was a lot of like sinus congestion. I sneezed. Oh my gosh. I used I swear, like 5 boxes of Kleenex. It was just so much coming out of me. But I could feel like, oh my gosh, I released so much. I felt like I had a storm inside of me. It was all of this stuff being released. And so, but the reason I said that is I was guided to different teas that I hadn't been drinking in quite some time. Right? So you might be guided to have different types of teas or use different essential oils or whatever it is. But the point is not about doing a lot of different things. The point is really bringing it with that question, zeroing in on that question. Your soul, like I said before, wants to talk to you, but your soul also honors your free will. So your soul won't give you this information unless you ask for it. Not because your soul's being mean, but because, again, you have free will. Thank goodness, right? We're not robots. Even though sometimes our free will can get us into a lot of trouble and cause a lot of pain and suffering for ourselves and others, we were gifted with free will. And so you get to ask, okay, what are the refinements? And then create that plan from that. I encourage you to do this ask for this for the rest of the year. As opposed to for my life now forever, just be like, okay, this year, as I end this year, what are the refinements? Create that plan and make it simple. Let it be very simple. Because again, we're going from this to this, right? This is an example. Imagine, okay, this is how much of my light, of my soul's light I can hold right now, my physical body can hold. And then this is where it's going. And I wanted to I have a bigger vase than this, but I couldn't carry them all upstairs right now. And obviously this is actually a process that continues to go throughout our life until the moment this or any other lifetime where we ascend, we wake up and then we shed our physical body and then we're just like a ray of light, right? But right now we're in a physical body. We're in this physical matrix, this physical planet, and the people that you're here to help need you. It's a big responsibility to have a physical body. And it truly is a gift, even though sometimes it could feel like it's a limitation. If we agreed to have a physical body, it's because we knew, especially those as helpers, that we knew we needed this physical body to reach the people we're here to help. Yes, it's amazing to have, guardian angels and divine beings like Mother Mary, or, I have Green Tara. I'm really vibing with Green Tara today. And I really truly believe these ascended masters are here helping us. They're mentoring us. They're bringing so much divine protection and guidance. But ultimately, they're not here to rescue us. Again, we have free will. And so those of us with a human body who've gone through human experiences and gone through so many challenges and suffer and forget who we are and go through all of that, we are in such a unique position to help others because we're still human. We still have an ego structure, and we know how hard it is. We know how easy it is to forget that we are a soul having a human experience. This is the type of help that the world needs right now. And yet at the same time, it's that holding both our humanity and holding also, as importantly, our divinity. And then the way we marry both, the way we bring both of that in is to, like, how do I become that ambassador for my soul as I walk through the world? Again and again, today was all about your physical body, which I don't usually talk about. I talk more about the emotions and your thoughts and all of that. But I just, again, as we've been talking about our plan for the next 4 months, it's come up a lot with my clients as they're, preparing to help and create more impact and make space for their creativity and all of that. That it's like, oh, of course, I really feel as a collective, our physical body is being upgraded. But sometimes when it's being upgraded, it doesn't feel like that in the moment. Like being sick the last week didn't feel like an upgrade. It was annoying and frustrating, and it was challenging. But as I'm coming out of it, it's like, oh, I can feel that. Like it was like a big purge of a lot that needed to come out, So I'm going to end with that there. I'm going to pull an animal card to just see. This is from this beautiful deck, the Spirit Animal Oracle. And I'm going to ask just what animal guide is helping all of us to increase our capacity. It's helping our physical body specifically to increase our capacity to hold our soul's light. And by the way, that workshop that I did yesterday was so helpful. I really walk you through the 4 pillars of creating your value plan. It was a free workshop. The replay is available till next Tuesday. So if you're hearing this and you didn't sign up for the workshop, but you would like to receive the replay, please send me a message and I'll send you the replay. You'll have until next Tuesday to watch it. It's an hour long. I think that will be really helpful for you. Okay. Let's see. Here we go. All right, what animal? Ooh, all right. We got number 8, Bobcat Spirit. And it says, life is a mystery. All right, so the bobcat, think about cat medicine. And cats are actually their physical body is such an antenna, right? They're so central. They're so tuned into their environment. So I feel that, I feel like this is bringing that energy of our physical body becoming more of that antenna, right? That ability to not get overwhelmed by the pain of the world, but be able to walk through it, navigate it, pause when we need to pause, move quickly when we need to move quickly, take it all in, and also understand that, what life is a mystery is like there's many things we won't intellectually understand, but intuitively there will be an understanding. So allow that wisdom to come through as well. All right, everyone. I'm so Always such a joy to connect with you. I'll put the link for no, I won't put the link. I'll put the link for if you want the replay. That's what I'm trying to get out of my mouth for the workshop. Send me an email and I will send that to you. And I will connect with you soon. Sending you so much love. Bye-bye.